So hopefully in a moment you should be able to see. Okay, can everyone see that? Can everyone see? Okay.
Yes, Dom.
Excellent, that's great. Just a general housekeeping for the moment. We will open up for question and answers at the end of this presentation. So throughout the presentation, if you can keep your microphones muted, but do feel free to put any questions and comments in the chat as we go. I'm also going to rely on my esteemed colleague Ronnie as well as part of some of the interactive elements of this presentation. When we put you through your paces with a little bit of a Q&A ourselves in a bit as well. But before we do any of that, I'd just like to give you a brief overview of the exciting kind of opportunities and programs that we're offering within our School of Computing, Engineering and Digital Technologies. Obviously, the main focus of today's workshop is to introduce our new postgraduate programs in immersive technologies, but that's just only a small snippet of the kinds of opportunities and the kinds of programs we offer at undergraduate and postgraduate level at Teesside University, and obviously in our School of Computing, Engineering and Digital Technologies, in which we're presenting today. So here's a brief overview of some of the activities that take place and the engagement, our student work, our facilities and our research that we're engaged with within the school. And I always joke about that being kind of like the opener to a blockbuster movie, but there you go. This is that gives you hopefully a flavour and a snapshot of some of the activity that takes place within our school, and obviously some of the different programmes and disciplines that our school teaches at Teesside University. And obviously you can see there a range of those courses and programmes scrolling on the screen at the moment. And I think what's kind of quite exciting about this presentation today is that actually a lot of those subject areas that we've discussed there, and not limited to that list that you've seen scrolling on the screen, actually are underpinned by the world of immersive technologies. Now, within our school, for those of you who don't know already, our name kind of says it all really. Computing, Engineering and Digital Technologies is underpinned by a range of kind of subject areas that you can see on screen there, from animation, visual effects and concept art, through to more traditional forms of computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, all of those kinds of areas. Then from things like games, computer games design, games programming, games art, a lot of what is actually underpinned by immersive technologies at the moment. And then into more kind of traditional forms of engineering, construction, and thinking about real world solutions to kind of climate change, clean energy, all of those kinds of areas are subject areas of our research and development and our program offerings at the moment. In terms of kind of the university and from an international perspective, and again, I'm not going to go too much about this because all of this information is readily available, and I'm sure colleagues in our regional offices have already shared this information with you. But internationally, kind of within our school, we do pretty well in terms of our student satisfaction. So in our recent student international barometer, our students from international territories are pretty happy with their studies, which is always good to know. And in terms of kind of the studying experience as well, we're one of the most kind of value for money campuses in the United Kingdom, which again is kind of and this is rated by our students, which is always good to know. Again, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you on the call today will. But Teesside University is based in the northeast of England, and our campus is in a town called Immersive. We are about 2.5 hours by train from London. And a very recent development for those of you who have maybe been eagle-eyed, a very recent development we just announced is that we will be shortly opening a campus in London as well. So we'll be offering higher education programming. Certain programs that we offer will be taught from our new London campus, which we'll be starting in September next year. So we both have a presence in London and we have a presence in Middlesbrough. And of course, we also teach some of our programs internationally too. In terms of the region, again, we're in a pretty nice place of the world. Lots of the Harry Potter movies, all that kind of stuff was shot within the region. The town is a single site campus, a single centre campus, obviously with our London one coming shortly. The campus itself, just to give you an overview, if you haven't already seen it, is visible here, if I just press play. And our campus, as I say, is located in the town centre of Middlesbrough, all on one site. Our student accommodation, our teaching facilities and resources are all on one single site, which is incredibly handy, particularly and incredibly popular as well for our international students. International students, and internationalization is a big thing at Teesside University, and within our school, over half of the population of our students are from international countries. So there's a rich, diverse mix of students and a student population at the campus, which is always good. And again, this information is obviously readily available online and through our partners as well. Not what I'm here to talk to you about today. In terms of our offering at the university, we very much focus, and in terms of our schools offering, we very much focus subjects which focus on digital skills and applying those within real world relevance, and that be maybe through our research, through our application of research, through the engagement with our strategic partners, and making sure that we develop our programs for the careers of tomorrow. And that's very much what I'm here to talk to you about today. Now, when I talk about strategic partners, that's something which is incredibly important to us and helps us inform a lot of the programs that we design, no less the two Immersive Technologies programs I'm here to talk to you about today. And we work very, very closely with our strategic partners, some of which you can see on screen at the moment, to ensure that our programs are designed with the needs of industry and also considering the current challenges of which industry is facing. Particularly in this space at the moment when we talk about immersive technologies, and a lot of this will become apparent as the presentation moves on. A lot of our industry partners are struggling to meet some of the new challenges and demands of this digital revolution which is taking place at the moment. And universities like ourselves, our unique placing in this digital space, we are very well equipped to be able to work closely with these partners to make sure that those programs are designed to meet the needs of tomorrow. Within computing and within digital technology, we have a rich heritage of an experience of developing and delivering programs in this space. For animation and visual effects, for example, we're one of the top universities in the world for teaching animation and visual effects, all of which underpins this kind of digital revolution we're talking about. Not only working with our strategic partners do we inform our course and curriculum design, but we also invite our industry speakers to come in and teach and talk about their experiences on industry developments. We also offer things like graduate internships and placements through our programs too as well. And that's not only our immersive tech programs that we're talking about today, this is across the board. In addition to that, we recognise the importance of recognised industry standard facilities to enable us to develop and cater our programs for emergent technologies. And some of those spaces you can see on screen now, but we also have and are about to invest in a new digital life building, which is going to be all encompassing around meeting the challenges of tomorrow across a variety of different sectors. But some of the facilities you can see on screen there, if you haven't had the chance to visit our campus already, are things like our green screen production soundstage, our industry standard edit suites and color grading labs, animation studios, game studios, virtual production and television studios, and broadcast media facilities as well, just to name a few. Again, kind of innovation is part and parcel of what we do. For those of you who are not aware of it already, but we were the first Adobe Creative Campus in Europe. So we recognize, even if it's not a digital subject per se, digital literacy is incredibly important to the world of today and tomorrow. Adobe worked very, very closely with us to provide tutorials, to provide accreditation, and to provide the Adobe products to all of our students on an iPad and other virtual learning tools that are available as part of the studies. All undergraduate students who study with us, for example, as well, receive an iPad as part of their learning experience, preloaded with not only the Adobe apps, but a range of other different digital applications that are required for their studies. Employability is incredibly important, and I've kind of touched on some of that already within our school. And as part of all of our programs, we get students to engage with our Expo series, which is all about students building up their portfolio of skills as they work through their programs, but recognizing that those digital skills, those creative skills, all of that talent needs to be showcased, and students need to be able to present themselves to the world of work, to potential employers, and to be able to market their abilities to gain employment. So as part of our teaching and learning experience, we have an end-of-year degree showcase, which is our Expo series. And Expo Tees is the culmination of the final undergraduate and postgraduate fields of study, where students have the opportunity to develop a marketing stand. They'll do posters, they'll do a big poster campaign, and they'll showcase their work on screens. They might demonstrate some of the applications they've developed or the films they've worked on, that kind of thing. And we invite employers to come onto campus, to see the students' work and give them an opportunity to network through and showcase what they've been doing as part of their studies. We also offer this as an event online, as a curated exhibit online, and also we do the event in London as well, where we actually play host to Expertise London, where we visit some of our strategic partners. So recently we've exhibited our student work at Industrial Light and Magic, and this year at Frame Store in London as well. So recognizing that, not only does, we have a digital economy thriving in the northeast of England, but obviously, we're thinking globally with our online exhibition, and we're thinking, kind of where taking our graduate talent to where employment lives. In addition to that as well, and coming into its 23rd year next year, our Animex Festival of Animation and Computer Games sees speakers and guests coming from all over the world to Teesside to provide a whole week-long activity of talks, workshops, feedback sessions and competitions, all in and around the animation and visual effects space. So speakers from Disney, from Naughty Dog, from all the big studios, game studios and production studios come onto campus and come into Teesside to showcase to both our students and invited guests and delegates and visitors just what's going on in the world of animation and visual effects. And an exciting development with that is that we are hoping to launch in the next year and the year after some more internationally focused versions of the Animex conference itself. So stay tuned for that information too. Now, I'm very much here today to talk about, again, about immersive technologies. And one of those spaces, again, engaging with industry, is our Toucan Digital Studio, where we actually provide a studio which supports and runs alongside, in parallel, all of our subject areas to create digital solutions and innovative products working with industry. And that's all about giving graduates opportunities to work on live projects, to allow students, whilst they study with us, the opportunity to become freelance concept artists, animators, programmers, you know, all of those kinds of different disciplines, to name a few, to work on live briefs under academic supervision and to develop some innovative products. So again, you know, all about thinking about students' employability prospects as part of our wider offering of our programs. In addition to that, though, you know, we're here today to talk about the launch of 2 new very exciting postgraduate programs. And these are all exploring digital growth around innovation and convergence, basically. We've launching to the market at the moment our new MA Applied Immersive Technologies and our MSc Immersive Technologies. And I'm going to talk a bit about how those programs function and the kinds of projects that students will be engaged with, the kind of learning experience students will take part in and around this space. Now, you know, immersive technologies, for those of you who have heard of the term, have maybe done some research into it, or, you know, maybe already experts, which is fantastic. Immersive technologies is transforming so many different industries at the moment, from education, from entertainment, from medicine, construction, you know, gamification. All sorts of different industries are exploring immersive technology. And when we think about kind of what immersive technology means, broadly speaking, we're talking about new ways of creating, displaying, and interacting with applications, content, and experiences. And that's a nice kind of summary from Digital Catapult by just there on screen. However, by what we're talking virtual by definition, but thinking about its impact, the impact is far more great than we can possibly imagine at this stage. And it's very much kind of at the cusp, as I say at the start of this presentation, of a digital revolution in this space. When we think about immersive technology today, you know, some of the research that's coming out, you know, some of the stats that you can see on screen for here kind of blow your mind a little bit. You know, the global immersive technology market size at the moment is valued at $21.66 billion in 2021, and it's expected to hit around 134 billion by 2030. So we're not talking kind of small numbers here. And apart from generating kind of over 400,000 jobs in the UK, it's also seen a 69 billion boost to the UK's economy alone. And across a whole range of different sectors, 87% of these different sectors in a recent survey have said that immersive technologies has helped improve their organisation's efficiency or their ways of doing things. So we're not talking about small numbers here, but we're talking about kind of things that have been perhaps, you know, kind of are at their infancy. And as you can see with those numbers there, we'll talk about 2030. This is very much a growth market. When we think about that application, though, of immersive technology, traditionally we explore virtual reality, augmented reality, and extended reality in this kind of space. And by virtual reality, we're talking about using technology to replace the real world with a virtual experience, with completely removing ourselves from the physical world and entering the virtual spaces. Augmented reality, we're talking about enhancing the real world. So using technology to be able to enhance what is physically in front of us with virtual technologies. And applications of that could be things like, obviously, in the game world, we've seen the revolution of things like Pokemon Go, for example, or in things like retail. We can visualize what a sofa looks like in our room before we even purchase it. Extended reality, on the other hand, is about using technology to merge both the physical world with the real world. And we're using things like HoloLens technology at the moment to help enhance how we design buildings, how we design cars in the automotive sector, for example. So all of this technology is what we would consider immersive, and the application of it is relevant to the sectors for various different reasons. You know, we don't necessarily create a virtual reality application just for the sake of it. We think about how is it going to enhance the user experience or how somebody achieves doing something. So when we think about kind of where all of these kinds of spaces begin, we kind of sometimes, and I might get a bit, you know, I might be being a little bit playful when I use this slide, but we think about, you know, immersive technologies is the thing of science fiction. When we think about kind of most technological advancements in recent years, they've often developed from what we could perhaps consider fiction into reality. And when we think about Star Trek, for example, when Captain Kirk first took to the screens in 1966, Science fiction was something of the imagination, but over time, in recent years, that has become science fact. So when we think about communicators, for example, we're thinking iPhones. When we're thinking about the pad there, iPads. You know, all becoming reality. When we think about replicators, we have 3D printer technology now, or things like virtual view screens. We've got HoloLens technology now. Again, you know, kind of more commonplace, you know, speakers where we can, you know, voice recognition speakers, you know, Alexa's listening wherever we go. Universal translators are the likes of Google Translate and view screens. You know, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now if it weren't for this kind of technology. All very much things of science fiction back in the day. And that's where in this space at the moment, programs like this, which are getting students and graduates and entering this space to think about using new technology and applying it in different ways, is kind of what's so exciting, and actually where we're kind of talking about this digital revolution. We're at another revolution point. And when we think about immersive technologies, we're thinking about creating distinct experiences which are merging the physical world with the real world. And some of these experiences and some of these technologies that students will be learning as part of these new programs that we're offering at Teesside University are the application of technology like this, using LED volumes. So LED volumes, for those of you who haven't come across it before, is things like The Mandalorian, which we explore things like filmmaking technology here, where we're using LED screens, so high resolution LED screens, and physical traditional camera work. So a camera there is placed in front of an LED screen, and we're using a 3D model in the background, and utilizing computer game technology, we're able to move the camera in both the virtual world and the physical world at the same time. So we get real-time rendered graphics, which look incredibly realistic because it's a 3D rendered model, but it's done in real time. So we're not having to be constrained by having to build sets. We're not having to use things like green screen here. We're not having to do lots of rendering, which takes time. We're able to do a lot of this kind of technology in real time. And it's revolutionizing how film and television production is being made at the moment. And this is using traditional forms of computer game technology, computer games programming, computer games art, animation, and filmmaking technology. So different markets are converging in a whole new space and in a whole new way. When we think about kind of the BBC, for example, so, you know, the BBC, we work very, very closely with them, and we talk to them about our curriculum design and development. And when we think about, you know, kind of the BBC as a pioneer in this space, the BBC have always kind of been a trailblazer in the evolution of broadcast entertainment, and certainly digital. So when we think about them, you know, they're the first regular TV broadcaster. Lots of people bought television sets to watch the live broadcast of Queen Elizabeth's coronation, for example. They introduced things like mainstream podcasting, audio on demand, and they're the first at the moment to explore virtual production. And this is something that we've been looking at ourselves at Teesside University, and thinking about challenging how our students on the immersive technologies programs are going to engage in production in these spaces. So this is a perfect example of that technology applied. The BBC during the Olympic coverage last year, so looking at this broadcast here, this is the broadcast studios that the BBC were utilising. And this was a blend of game technology and green screen technology to create virtual studio production. So here, obviously, during the pandemic, our presenters and broadcasters couldn't travel to Tokyo, or were restricted with things like social distancing. So the BBC wanted to do something a little bit more than just putting a television screen behind a presenter. So this is a fully immersive virtual studio environment created as a 3D model using Unreal Engine, which is game engine technology, and then mixed with live broadcasting. So this is what the sets look like. In reality, however, this is what the actual sets really look like. If I just skip forward, this is what the real sets look like. So you can see there, you know, kind of quite the illusion. But what this is doing is using traditional forms of television production. So we've got 3 or 4 television cameras in a TV studio there. And what they're doing is using green screen technology to remove the background, and they're replacing that background with a virtual 3D model. Now, the camera at this point is actually using infrared technology. So there's an infrared sensor on top of all of the cameras, and there's motion capture markers all around the television studio in this space here. And basically what the TV camera is doing is it's moving in the physical world, but at the same time, it knows where it is in the virtual world. And again, using a fast render engine, using game technology, we were able to key in the virtual background and real-time render these graphics. So this content that you see here right now is broadcast live. So there's no rendering. It's all done real time. So as the camera moves in the virtual world, it moves in the physical world as well. So achieving using game technology and immersive technologies here in television broadcasting. And that's just one of the areas that we're looking at. When we look at some of our sets at Teesside University, these are some of the studio sets that our students have been designing. And again, using the same kind of technology here, we're creating virtual spaces and virtual camera moves where we're then able to, using green screen technology, key that in real time. So students are experimenting in these kinds of spaces to look at how we can kind of evolve television production and film production, just one area of immersive technology. Some areas like this, we're using virtual training to actually engage with simulated environments where we perhaps can't take perhaps kind of physical people to specific locations. We can use virtual technology to train people, and this is a project that we've done with our Cleveland Fire Brigade. So make sure people are muted there. This is a project that we did with Cleveland Fire Brigade in the UK, where they wanted a solution to be able to train firefighters without having to set fire to things. So using game technology and virtual reality, we were able to create simulated experiences of emergency incidents and put firefighters into scenarios and test their command capabilities. So again, using game technology, this is using Unreal Engine. We built 3D environments. We created 3D models. We did things like photogrammetry, which involved taking photorealistic captures of firefighters and of environments and buildings to be able to make the scenarios as realistic as we possibly could. And again, using motion capture here, so this is in our motion capture lab, we're able to create realistic movements that are representative of actual real life, and then we can simulate that in the virtual world and allow firefighters to train in a safe environment. And that technology can be applied to a range of different educational settings and training settings. In addition to that, we can use things like augmented reality, which is using things like a blend of the real world and the virtual world. So in augmented reality, we've been looking at applications like this, which is looking at using iPad technology in hospital wards, where we're able to show a 3D render of a person's heart. We're able to adjust the parameters of the heart, so we could have a patient with complications that we're able to real-time replicate what's going on with that patient's heart and show them what the medical interventions are to actually improve their outcomes. So again, just another application of how immersive technologies is used in a different setting. So this used in a medical setting, and its application can, is limited to your imagination. In historic settings as well, so things like museums and museum curated experiences. This is a project that our students and graduates have worked on at a local castle called Barnard Castle. So they created a 3D render of what the castle actually looks like at the moment. So this is what it physically looks like at the moment. You can experience this in virtual reality and in augmented reality. But the idea is if you go to visit this castle, this particular castle, you can see what it looks like in virtual reality now, but you can also go back through time and see what the castle used to look like. Obviously, right now it's a ruin. If we look at what it looks like today, so this is a render. So if you were to explore the castle itself here, you can see what it looks like now, but we can skip forward in time to see what the castle would have looked like in different time periods. So we can look at kind of what the great, we see here, for example, this is a hall, which was part of the actual castle. So we've created using architectural models, recreated what the castle would have looked like at different time periods before it was a ruin. So again, you know, we can create these uniquely immersive experiences on location in physical environments as well. And this here is just demonstrating how the model has been built. So using wireframe technology, so wireframes, then we apply looks to it. So we put things like textures onto it. So you can see the brickwork there, for example, and we build up the model slowly. But this can be applied in virtual reality, in augmented reality, and in extended reality. Other areas are things like mixed reality and engineering, for example, here, where we've got the use of HoloLens technology, where this is our distillation column in our engineering department, and using a HoloLens, this is a rather robust HoloLens, we're able to explore and look at real-time data as it comes off sensors which are attached to our distillation column there. So we can look at what's going on, we can see if there's any problems, and we can make modifications. And we can do that with a mix of both the virtual world and the real world. Again, you know, using artificial intelligence, we're creating things like artificial humans here. So this is a character who was interviewed over a period of time, and all of those responses were put into a database. And using artificial intelligence, we've been able to create an interactive human that can learn and grow based on the questions it gets asked. And over time, that character and that person will grow. And again, that's using a mix of traditional forms of filmmaking, of 3D modeling, and artificial intelligence. So again, creating immersive technologies using a whole range of different disciplines. 360 video is another area, so 360 filmmaking to create experiences using real-time traditional forms of filmmaking, but being able to shoot in all different directions all at the same time to create truly immersive experiences of the real world. So again, you know, this technology is you know, kind of traditional forms of filmmaking, but exploring filmmaking in a whole new way. So when you know, film a traditional film, we would obviously aim and shoot a particular subject. We'd frame them in shot, but that becomes a bit of a head scratch moment when we can shoot in all different directions at the same time. How do we direct the storytelling experience? So that hopefully gives you a flavor, an overview of how, you know, kind of the different applications our students on these programs are able to apply this type of technology. And, you know, fundamentally what we're talking about here, when we think about different experiences and creating these experiences, it's understanding what is the problem. It's understanding how to solve a particular problem. It's understanding who the user, who the audience is for this type of technology, and kind of what it is that we're trying to achieve. So we're trying to develop critical thinkers and problem solvers in very novel and new spaces. And that's very much why we've created two of these specific programs in mind. I'm just going to skip myself forward a moment. When we think about immersive technologies itself and the types of careers then that this underpins, a range of those different subject areas that you can see on screen at undergraduate level are the kinds of programs that we offer at Teesside University, of course, but the kinds of programs which are underpinned by this kind of technology. So, you know, you could be an animator coming into this space. You could be a programmer. You could be an artificial intelligence specialist. You could be a filmmaker. All of these kinds of different disciplines, and not limited to these disciplines, are feeding into this new space. My background is a documentary filmmaker, and a few years ago, I wouldn't have been dreaming about using green screen technology and game technology to be able to create the experiences and films that I'm creating. So our MA Applied Immersive Technologies and our MSc Immersive Technologies are two distinctly designed programs to cater to these new sectors and all of the different technologies and case studies I've just been talking about. The design of the two programs you can see on our website, but to give you a flavour of the kinds of modules that you will study on this and students will study in this space are on screen now. Both programs have synergies between the two of them because the whole concept behind the programs is understanding that, you know, we need the technology which is underpinned by these types of experiences is changing all the time. So people from a computer programming background, from a computer science background, from an artificial intelligence, a games design background, are all the kinds of people who might be interested in our immersive technologies route. Whereas the applied immersive technologies route focuses more on the creative application of these technologies, of understanding how audiences work and how audiences engage with these types of platforms and these types of experiences. So the modules that you see on the top there in purple are all group-based modules and shared modules between the MSc and the MA. So they're all very much about developing products, so augmented reality and virtual reality there, around developing bespoke products in that space, working collectively between the producers and the designers of that technology. And there's a whole range of different experiences within those modules. We look at things like the user experience and immersive user experience. So how do we design experiences for audiences? How do they engage with the experiences? All of those kinds of things. Through the different, like I said, the distinct differences between the MA and the MSc, though, look at very much kind of two different focuses. One around the application of the technology in the MSc, and in the MA, very much about how we design these experiences and engage with audiences. And as I said before, you know, the kinds of experiences, the kinds of industries people can go into in these spaces are enormous. You know, you could be a games designer, you could be a concept artist, you could be a data analyst, you could be a programmer, but lots and lots of production companies are engaging in the design and the development of these kinds of technologies, and focusing on kind of trying to solve solutions and problems of tomorrow in these kinds of spaces. So I hope that was, that was a brief whistle-stop overview of the types of programs and the offering that we have, and the types of experiences and the types of projects that students will get involved with. More information is obviously available on our website, along with the entry requirements of the two distinct programs. But I would like to thank you for your time in listening today. And if anybody has any questions, please do feel free to ask. Thank you very much. Hope that was a useful and, like I say, whistle-stop overview of the program. If you would like anything, any more information, or you would like to look at this presentation in more detail, I can share the slides with you at the end of this session. But hopefully you think some of the application of this technology and some of the spaces that this can take our graduates into is, you know, kind of is incredibly rewarding and as I say, you know, kind of quite untapped, the potential in this space at the moment. Of course, no problem, Dina. That's no problem whatsoever. I'll also in the chat, I'll also share my contact information as well, so that if you want to ask any follow-up questions about the program design and curriculum design, I can give you more detail about that. Our website also goes into more detail about each of the distinct modules and how they work and how they all kind of make the complete program. Yeah, June, you had a question?
Yes, I do. Since everyone is so quiet, just let me ask this question. Basically, for immersive technologies, I think it's a very exciting concept and it's really coming on right now. But what kind of students would typically, be most suitable for this kind of course? How do we identify them?
Yeah, okay, well, so the MA Applied is looking more at the creative application of these kinds of technologies. So the problem solving that goes into how do we approach a challenge? How do we come to a solution? What is the type of experience that we're wanting to create? So graduates coming into the MA Applied might be from a film and television background. They might be from a creative animation background. They might be from a journalism background, any kind of creative production management type programs, business degrees, those kinds of programs. Also through the MSc, more kind of traditional forms of computing, artificial intelligence, computer programming, computer games design, that kind of thing.
So going back to what you said, since there's a MA and MSc, right, would we be disadvantaged, let's say, if I'm more on the MA side, or the MSc side is much more being sought after?
Both are actually sought after in equal measure at the moment, and that's what we're finding at the moment. The BBC, for example, the British Broadcasting Corporation, they're saying that they need filmmakers who understand the application of the digital technologies. They don't necessarily need to understand how to program, but they need to understand how you can apply that type of technology in the broadcast settings, or how it works. Same way, we're not asking computer programmers to suddenly reinvent themselves and become television broadcasters. That's the kind of thought process here at the moment. So when we think about some of the medical applications we've designed there, how does a user design? How does a user experience that project? What does the audience using that project need to know and how do they engage with the product is probably more for the MA applied. But how you design and program it is the MSc, so the technology that underpins it. But the two go arm in arm, and that's why we have the two distinct models, because we're finding in production studios that they need creative thinkers who can problem solve and think about how you take something to market, how you sell a product, how you understand a want and a demand and a need for it. But equally, we need the technologists and the programmers and the creative technological minds to be able to realize how that works. It's the same way when you think about building a website or creating an animation or a computer game. You have a games artist and you have a games programmer. The two work together because the games artist can't program the level or build the kind of infrastructure, neither, and vice versa. So they support one another.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dom. There are already questions in the chat box I think I should not take up more of your time.
Yeah, in terms of the business background and such, I would probably recommend the applied route. We would normally at the application level ask to see kind of we either ask to see a portfolio, or we would ask to kind of we would want to know more about the level of interest in this space and how somebody from a business background might want to get into designing these kinds of experiences. But I would probably, it's based on the applicant. The MSc route, we would expect some level of understanding of things like game technology and some level of programming experience and such. The MA applied is a little bit more about introducing the technology and how it works, but problem solving through it. In terms of the requirements and such, the entry requirements and such, you can check the website for the up-to-date requirements based on the region and also the English language requirements too. And also my colleagues in here who know a lot more about this than me will be able to answer those questions as well.
Yes, certainly. Just to further entice on the questions regarding the entry requirement, please do reach out to your respective regional officers in terms of particular countries or qualifications that you are currently holding to check on the entry requirement. Dom, I just wanted to, as now that we know that, how do we identify which particular students that are suitable for the MA or the MSc program? The next questions follow through would be, with all these students, what is the learning environment be like, and how are they going to be accessed throughout these programs?
So yeah, the students are assessed through a range of developing and design activities. So there's group project modules where students across both programs will be developing and designing applications. And that's where, the two support one another. There'll be a lot of problem solving initiatives, understanding the ethics behind designing these applications, working out kind of new territories and new markets where this type of technology can be applied. And we work a lot with our strategic partners in that so to understand how we develop and design these spaces. Obviously, you've seen some of the facilities on screen in the presentation, but we're due to be launching a new digital technologies building in the next couple of years, which is all around immersive design, the application of digital technologies. So not only will we have things like our soundstage environments, our virtual reality labs, our motion capture labs, they'll be using things like HoloLens technology, Oculus headsets, all the latest different types of software and hardware to test and prototype these types of applications on. So you're assessed through portfolio work, through group projects, and through reflective essays and such.
Great. Okay, that leading to my next questions. I just wanted curious, you mentioned earlier, overall in the UK, the career and the employment opportunities there. What about in where Teesside University, in particularly in the Northeast region, is there such opportunities or such industrials connections within the region itself?
Yeah, and we've obviously launching our London campus as well with that in mind, that both the two of the major hubs in the UK at the moment are in the north of England, in our media city near Manchester. In the Tees Valley itself, we have a digital city initiative. So there's a number of digital businesses and such set up that have a global presence, not just a Teesside and northeast presence. The likes of Ubisoft, 11 and studios such like that have a presence in the northeast of England, but also a global footprint as well. Our London campus as well is placed and centred actually at the Olympic Park, which is obviously a home for digital innovation as well. So yeah, we're very well placed for that. And there are a lot of opportunities, and that's why we have these things like our expertise initiative, which are able to kind of bring industry in to see the students. Our strategic partners are always interested to see what we're doing, and we embed that into our curriculum design as well, so that our strategic partners are working very closely with the development of the technologies and looking at what our students are doing as well within the classroom, because that informs where industry is going, and also provides opportunities for our students when they graduate.
No.
Great, excellent. I saw some questions from the audience is asking me about the tuition fees and the durations. We can explain the tuition fees later, but perhaps Domes, would you like to further explain on the durations of study, because we noticed that there may not many audiences in the room that understand that we have the master's programs that comes with the advanced practice modules.
Yeah. Apologies about that. I'm being pulled into another presentation at the moment as we speak as well, so it's one of those days today. Yeah, our master's program has two options to it: a 1-year route or a 2-year route. And the 2-year route comes with an advanced practice placement, which would be a placement which either the student can source or we would source. And that would be working on a live brief and a live project in and around immersive technologies. So they would gain placement working with an industry partner to be able to realise a particular project through the development of an asset, of an application. It could be a range of different things, but the student has the opportunity to work with and to gain effectively the experience of employment whilst they're studying with us in the placement form. So there's a 1-year option. The 2-year option carries that advanced practice placement.
Great, thank you, Dom. Okay, I think if there's no more questions, okay, just to touch on regarding on the tuition fee bits, we have yet to publish the tuition fee for our upcoming academic year, which is for the September 2023 as well as January 2024 intakes. But we tentatively are expecting to make this announcement first quarter of next year. So please stay tuned with your respective regional officers and our university website for the latest announcement of the tuition fee as well as the scholarships schemes. In the meantime, if you do have any questions, or feel free to type it in the chat box. If there is no more, I think we're about to reach the time to conclude these sessions. Dom, last thing, what would you say? I mean, what was you looking for on what kind of quality, or what are kind of prospect students that you are looking for to come into this particular immersive technologies program?
I would say anybody who's got an appetite for innovation, for change, for disrupting the market, and I mean disruption in a good way. This space at the moment is incredibly, incredibly exciting and vibrant, and it's very, very convergent at the moment. So you've seen a load of the examples there. You're limited to your imagination at the moment now with the application of immersive technologies. At Teesside University, we've got a rich experience and heritage in computing, in digital innovation, and we are proud to be a first in these kinds of spaces. And within this immersive technology space, we're being bold and taking a leap into the design and the development of these programs. We want graduates with an appetite for that level of change, that level of disruption, and that level of innovation, of challenging kind of what is traditionally done, and exploring how through the application of new technologies we can create fantastic new immersive experiences that will change the way industries function. That's what I would say.
I would say the same too, Dom. All right. Thank you very much for joining us this particular webinar, especially thanks to you, Dominic. We hope this will give much in-depth information to the market and entice the prospects, students, or our partners, agents, to have to stir the appetite in the immersive technologies areas towards Teesside University. I will send this recording will be available if you do have your colleagues or friends that are unable to be with us today and would like to know more. Please feel free to reach out to your respective regional offices to obtain the recording, or to source for further information regarding Teesside University or any other matters. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining once again, and we hope you have a great afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, like I said, if you'd like to find any more information, please do contact myself, or obviously, of course, your regional offices. I hope that was a useful session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom. See you.